Now, reporting from Lexington, Buena Vista, and Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Megan Shaw.
And I'm Brill Roulette. Thanks for joining us. The City of Lexington is asking a federal judge in Roanoke to dismiss a lawsuit over the flying of Confederate flags from city flagpoles. The Sons of Confederate Veterans is suing the city over an ordinance that the group says violates its free speech rights under the ordinance. Under the ordinance, only the flags of the United States, Virginia, and the City of Virginia, City of Lexington can be flown from city flagpoles. The city says the lawsuit concerns government speech and the First Amendment can't be applied. U.S. Judge Sam Wilson has not yet set a date to hear the motion to dismiss. A trial in the case could be held within the next 8 months.
Every spring, local lawmakers create a new city budget, but Lexington is feeling pressure this year from reduced funding at the federal and state levels. As Rockbridge reporter Alex Maragos learns, every option remains on the table to produce a balanced budget.
Councilwoman Mary Harvey Halseth told the Rockbridge Report last week that creating a new city budget will be tough.
Our budget right now is very tight, and don't expect it to get any better anytime soon.
City Manager John Elistad says this is always his busiest time of year. Writing this year's budget, however, is different than years before.
This is one of the most difficult budgets I've ever dealt with.
With federal stimulus money dried up and budget uncertainty at the state level, Elistad is making city departments justify more of their spending.
Hey, you want $10,000? Why? What's this going to do for us?
One department expected to be hit particularly hard this year is education. Here at City Hall, officials say that state funding for Lexington schools has dropped 22.4% in the last 6 years.
Laura Pearson has 2 children at Waddell Elementary. She says that potential cuts in school funding would only add to problems for teachers.
Our teachers live in fear of their positions being cut, and we have a phenomenal group of educators here, and we need all of them, if not more.
Connie Giannini teaches 4th grade at Waddell. She says teachers are already overwhelmed by their workload.
We're being asked to do more and more and more by the federal level, the state level, and thus the local level, and we have fewer and fewer and fewer resources to do that more and more and more with.
The city manager is due to release his budget proposal on March 30th. From there, a public debate can take place until the new fiscal year begins on July 1st. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Alex Maragos.
A series of City Council work sessions and public hearings is set to begin on April 16th. The State Senate also hopes to vote on a budget this coming Monday.
More shops and restaurants could be opening in Lexington. Ben Grigsby made a proposal to the Planning Commission 2 weeks ago to renovate the old library building on Main Street, which currently holds office spaces. Tonight, there will be a public hearing at 5 o'clock, and neighbors of the building will be able to speak on Grigsby's proposal. Virginia's unemployment rate fell to a 3-year low in January, according to a report released last week. But jobs are still hard to find in Lexington. The city's unemployment rate was at 10% in December, 4 points higher than the state average. Rockbridge Area Social Services Department Director Meredith Hardy says the Rockbridge area's unemployment problem will not improve until the national economy bounces back. She hopes a recovery will bring unskilled manual labor jobs back to the Rockbridge area.
Buena Vista's unemployment rate is sitting at 7%. Yesterday morning's job fair provided a welcome opportunity for job seekers and potential employers to connect. Our Stephen Peck has the story.
Over 200 job seekers and 40 employers attended a job fair Wednesday morning at the Virginia Horse Center. One of the attendees was Brian Grimmer. He hasn't held a full-time job in 2 years.
We sold our house and we're living with my mother-in-law, and that's never easy.
Grimmer says a job fair allows people to get away from online applications and meet real people. The employers value the opportunity for direct interaction as well.
It will be a success just because we've been able to reach out and touch the folks in the community, let them know who Kendal or Lexington is.
Businesses large and small, from Kendal to Walmart, were available for job seekers to connect with. Seeing that companies are actually hiring encourages job hunters like Deborah Alvarez.
It brings hope to people that are not working.
Yet hope can be tough to come by when unemployed for prolonged periods. Alvarez is going on a year.
It's been rough. I've been very anxious. It's stressful. Very stressful.
Alvarez wasn't expecting to find permanent work at the job fair. She simply wanted to hand her resume out and make connections.
I think I've succeeded, and that's awesome.
With close to 1,000 people still unemployed in the Rockbridge area, employers like Modine Manufacturing's Brett Seacrest understand the need to put people back to work.
I think for the future of Buena Vista, we still need to get jobs in.
For a region hit hard by the recession, the job fair provided another opportunity for the Rockbridge area's unemployed to find work. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Stephen Peck.
The job fair was put on by the City of Buena Vista, the Chamber of Commerce, and People Link Staffing Solutions. Later, a new restaurant serves up more than just 4-course meals.
And find out what's preventing some Rockbridge County firefighters and emergency workers from answering calls. We have more after the break.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at energysavers.gov.
2 outs with a runner on first base. Now the big guy comes up to bat, hitting .342 with 92 RBIs and 36 homers.
Chill raw and prepared foods promptly. 1 in 6 Americans will get sick from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
We'd like to correct an earlier mistake. Meredith Downey is the Rockbridge Area Services Director. Rockbridge County Fire and Rescue agencies are having trouble responding to calls. Our reporter, Tilden Bowditch, has more on the story.
20-year-olds Mikey Kronk and Bradley Goodbar say they began volunteering at the Effinger Fire Department at least 4 years ago.
We really don't have a lot of people that show up. It's usually the same ones, but everyone else usually, someone's always got something going on, whether it's family or work related, so you just come when you can.
In 2011, Rockbridge County Fire and Rescue agencies failed to respond to 25% of the calls that came in. Effinger Fire Department President J.D. Clemmer says many volunteers can't respond to calls during the day. They're either at work or with their families.
You got key people, you got 6 or 8 people that work on your first aid, and if they're not available, you depend on Lexington coming and picking up the slack.
Clemmer says county fire and rescue departments need paid staff in addition to volunteers. The only agency in the county that has a career staff is the Lexington Fire Department. Fire Lieutenant Joseph Brahnur says last year's transition to a career staff was much needed.
You know, this kind of thing, as far as being volunteer, is sort of a dying breed for younger kids, and we, as far as answering calls, our call volume was so large in the county that we needed more help, so we went to a career staffing.
Rockbridge County Emergency Services Director Robert Forsman says the Board of Supervisors is considering alternatives to career staffing, including a reimbursement program for all fire and rescue volunteers. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Tilden Bowditch.
Forsman says fire and rescue agencies in the county receive a combined average of 10,000 calls per year.
Nearly 6 million people in the United States have been diagnosed with dementia. Experts agreed that the number represents less than 1/3 of those who actually have dementia symptoms. Rockbridge Report's Emily Mosh has the story.
Someone with dementia, understanding can be hard to come by. Continuing care facility Kendal at Lexington offers hope and help to people like this.
We have learned to live one day at a time.
Jack Geikler's wife Pat has vascular dementia, an incurable form of dementia caused by blood flow problems or disease. She was given her initial diagnosis in 2004. Looking back, Jack says symptoms really started 5 years earlier.
In retrospect, we just weren't smart enough to recognize that we had a problem then.
Cathy Lewis is a nurse at Kendal. She helps patients like Pat Geikler and their families cope with dementia. She leads the Dementia Caregiver Support Group.
I think until you live it, you really don't understand it. And many of us who live it learn every day a little bit more.
Geikler and Lewis want people to understand dementia. They brought the virtual dementia tour to Kendal. I participated in it. You put on goggles that restrict vision, headphones that blare noise, gloves that restrict motion, and pointed foot pads to simulate pain. You were given a set of 5 easy tasks and then go into a room lit by a strobe light for 10 minutes. I think I accomplished maybe one of the tasks. Lewis says that's normal. She and Geikler believe people underestimate hardships of dementia. Despite his wife's diagnosis, Geikler remains positive about his time with the woman he fell in love with in junior high.
It's been a wonderful ride. We've gotten to do a lot of the things we said we wanted to do from the beginning.
The virtual dementia activity gives an eye-opening experience to the difficulty of simple tasks for people like Pat. It showed me just how necessary a caregiver could be for a dementia patient.
Do you love me?
Of course I do.
Okay.
For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Emily Mosh.
Alzheimer's is the leading cause of dementia, and there is no known cure. Geikler and Lewis agree. The first step, if a loved one is showing signs of memory loss, is to get a medical diagnosis.
Washington and Lee's Hillel House is working to bring students and community members together through a variety of events. Rockbridge reporter Sarah Stiefvater has the story.
Opened only 2 years ago, the Hillel House at Washington and Lee University has already made an impact on students and community members alike. Brett Schwartz is the director of Hillel.
Well, a few years ago they decided, okay, we're going to build a Hillel House. This will A, attract Jewish students, B, it'll be great for the community.
Jewish students at Washington and Lee haven't always felt so welcome.
Back when it was an all-guys, all-male college, there was primarily a quota for Jewish students. There's actually a lot of anti-Semitism on campus.
Now, Hillel offers Shabbat dinners, services on High Holy Days, and a number of speakers. Congressman Bob Goodlatte recently visited Hillel for the first time to talk about Middle Eastern relations.
So I think it's exciting that we have this kind of facility here, and it's getting a lot of use.
Schwartz says Jewish residents of Lexington take advantage of the Hillel House, as the closest synagogue is in Stanton.
So this is also acting as the local synagogue for many people. Hillel as an organization brings the community together.
Schwartz says he's expecting a large crowd of both students and community members for Hillel's upcoming Passover Seder. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Sarah Stiefvater.
Schwartz says one of Hillel's goals going forward is to attract more Jewish students to Washington and Lee. The sun's out, but will it stay shining? We have the weekend's forecast after the break.
And later, a nonprofit organization serves 4-course meals for free. Stay with us.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Every book is an adventure waiting to come to life. Visit new worlds. Encounter new friends. And discover the power of reading. Go to read.gov to read A Princess of Mars, the first novel to feature John Carter. A new world awaits. Read.
This is one amazing truffula tree. Can you imagine a place where these grow everywhere? Yes, it's called the forest, a magical place to enjoy with your family.
Ooh.
So discover the forest and explore all the wonder that's there. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Spring is finally here, although it feels like summer's come early to Rockbridge County. The sun will continue to shine tomorrow, with the mercury peaking again in the low 80s. But the weekend's going to be a wet one, with thunderstorms rolling in on Saturday with a high of 71 and a low of 54. Keep those rain boots out on Sunday, as those thunderstorms stick around and the temps drop to the low 60s. Monday will be drier, with partly cloudy skies and a high in the low 70s and lows in the 40s. And the sun will come out again on Tuesday, warming up to the high 60s and dropping to the mid-40s overnight.
The Rockbridge Rapids are the area's Valley League baseball team. The league gives college students a chance to play summer ball, but there's still a lot to do before the first pitch of the season. Rockbridge Report's sports editor, Cathy Sheeler, has more on this year's preparations for opening night.
In the Rockbridge Rapids office, General Manager Ken Newman is getting ready for players to arrive during Memorial Day weekend. He still has to find sponsors, order equipment, and find host families. Even with all this work, Newman says Rapids baseball is the perfect family activity.
I like to say that this is, America's the national pastime and America's game, and it's being played in one of America's best cities.
Most of the Rapids staff are volunteers. This includes host families who open their homes to players while they're staying in Lexington. Patty Colleton and her family will host a player for the third year in a row this summer. She says the system benefits both the players and the families.
Having a role model for my boys is nice because they're always guys of great character.
The Rapids play here at Captain Dick Smith Field on the campus of Washington and Lee, and the man who keeps it in tip-top shape for them is Charlie Updike.
I like for the field to look good for the spectators, but my number one priority is I want to play true for the players, and it takes quite a bit of work.
Updike says getting the field ready takes 4 to 6 hours, but he takes pride in the final product and watching people enjoy the game.
Look at it. It's a great ballpark.
We have at least one grandfather who brings his granddaughter to every game. She's probably 10 or 11, and they sit there and they keep scoring. He's teaching her how to score baseball games.
Even though there's still a lot to be done, fans and staff eagerly await the first game. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Cathy Sheeler.
The Rapids are still looking for host families for their players. If you're interested, please visit our website and follow the link to the Rockbridge Rapids.
After 2 years of planning, Rockbridge County's newest nonprofit joins area hunger relief efforts, but with a twist. Rockbridge reporter Alex Cummings finds out what the organization brings to the table.
Rockbridge County's newest restaurant is now in business. The community table opened its doors to the public on Monday night and served up more than just food.
I live alone, and I don't see a whole lot of people, and I don't do much cooking, so this meal was great.
We were seated at a table with candles and dip and vegetables, and someone came by and took our order.
Decorations were fantastic. There was harp music, which is really nice. It was way beyond my expectations.
The community table is the area's newest nonprofit organization. Although it's designed to feed those in need, the restaurant dishes out 4-course dinners to everyone who shows up.
It brings the community together, both people that you know and people you may never have met.
But the best part of the meal is perhaps what diners don't get, a check.
A restaurant without a cash register, a place where people can come, receive a healthy, hot meal.
It's not like a soup kitchen, it's kind of like a nice restaurant almost.
This has been Jamie Tompkins' goal since childhood.
My father's mentally ill, and he abandoned our family. Even with everyone working hard, there were times that, we really didn't have a lot of food in the house.
Tompkins Community Table has been in the works for 2 years and could not come any sooner for diners like Gladys Steele, who ran a local homeless shelter in the 80s and 90s.
I've been praying for something that people could at least go in and get something to eat. I go home and sleep like a baby tonight.
Tompkins' team serves food every Monday from 6 to 8 p.m. Those who can afford it can choose to make a small donation, and those who can't may simply enjoy a hearty meal with dignity. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Alex Cummings.
Right now, the community table operates out of the old rescue squad building below the food pantry. Tompkins hopes to find a permanent location and serve people 3 to 5 times per week.
That's all we have time for today. For more information about what's going on in the area, log on to our website at rockbridgereport.washingtonandlee.net. I'm Megan Shaw.
And I'm Brill Roulette. Have a great evening.